morning, everyone. Welcome to Capability Coffee. Mary Lynn, thanks for joining today. Appreciate you being here. We have a couple guests with us as well. We are glad to have Vaco in the building to talk a little bit about their capabilities and what they do, not only here in Richmond, but across the country and maybe even globally. So, Mary Lynn, welcome. Thanks for coming by today.
Thanks for having us, Nick. We're very excited for this opportunity and the ability to bring some of my colleagues from across the globe here to chat about Vaco's services and capabilities, which have greatly increased since I joined Vaco 13 years ago. I think a lot of our listeners and clients here in the market know us as a talent solutions and staffing firm, which is the team that I support. But there's so much more. Over the 13 years, we've grown into a billion-dollar company with a lot of niche practices to include healthcare IT. We have a focus on supply chain and retail planning. We have acquired a large consulting group in the Northern Virginia market called Morgan Franklin, which is who Pete is here to represent. Okay. But with that, I'm excited to have some of my colleagues, as I mentioned, and Pete from our Raleigh office. He's managing partner there, and his focus is to support our cybersecurity practice, which is under our Morgan Franklin Consulting Group, and Atul Behave from our San Fran team. He's our managing director and is supporting our global digital solutions team.
Well, thanks for kicking us off, Mary Lynn, and thanks Pete and Atul for joining us. Let's talk at a little bit of a higher level to start. What are some of the overarching trends and patterns and rhythms that you're seeing out in the marketplace right now for your business?
Sure. Well, that's, I think, a great segue, which is why I have Pete and Atul here this morning. One of the biggest trends really is in that, trust and safety area, cybersecurity. As we all know, I think they can talk to some of the bigger cyber attacks that we've had recently. So sure. I think top of mind awareness for a lot of our clients is, how do we protect our data? A lot of the data that's, we're trying to release into the market and have our clients have access to, or their customers have access to. So I'll turn it over to Pete. Why don't you start? Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing and some of the solutions that we support.
Thanks very much, Nick, for having us and coordinating all of this. So again, Pete Shealy with Morgan Franklin. I lead up our cybersecurity practice at Morgan Franklin. Diving into cybersecurity a little bit, I think trying to narrow down the trends, all of the trends that we're seeing, we could talk for hours, right? There are a few that I'd like to talk about that, that we're seeing today that I think are relevant probably to the audience here. And so the first one is third-party risk management. So a lot of the incidents that we've seen in cyber over the last couple of years, and really a growing trend, are partners or vendors that your company might work with, right? So you may be purchasing or licensing a software from an external vendor and sharing data with that vendor. You may be our partner, right? And so how that partner treats security is super important, right? To the vulnerability that you have as a company. As soon as you're introducing that third party, you're introducing all of the risks that they have. So as you onboard a vendor or a partner, going through a checklist of things that you should be doing for good security hygiene, right? As you onboard a partner. A second one is, and this is more regulatory compliance related, but even going back to the election of 2016, cybersecurity awareness has been raised in the public consciousness. And I think what we're seeing from the federal government perspective is the implementation of new kind of regulations that are requiring businesses that are supplying services or goods to the federal government to really certify or comply with a cybersecurity maturity model, right? That you're doing the basic things right. And the last one that I'll talk about is what's called zero trust architecture. So with all of the breaches that are occurring, all of the ransomware attacks, things like that, what has generally been your perimeter, right? So your network firewall, your perimeter, um, that's getting breached all of the time. Basically, what zero trust architecture is doing is assuming that your perimeter has been breached, and so it's looking at what assets are within your organization that need to be protected at a micro level. So third-party risk management, the CMMC certification, and the zero trust architecture are three of the big trends that we're seeing in the industry today.
Thank you, Pete. Mary Lynn, should we bring a tool into the conversation here?
Sure, would love to. I think taking what Pete said in the three main trends that you just discussed, a tool can take it a step further when we talk about our data and content and some of the solutions that they support there.
So I help lead the managed services division for Vaco. What that means is that we help large enterprise clients across the globe. Though we are headquartered here in San Francisco for this business, and as a company, we are in Nashville, but we have centers of excellence around London, Tokyo, all across Asia, specifically large outsourcing operations in India. We help our large enterprise clients either go global or help them with localization, help them monetize their products. But most importantly, we work on two major trends in the market today. One is that COVID has been a major accelerator of events. And second, there are a lot of keyboard ninjas uploading a lot of user content every day to companies. And it's our expertise in helping our clients help keep their user experience as safe as possible. Pete spoke about trust. A lot of startups assume that everything's trustworthy, and they try to fix things later, and that's where we come in. We have large teams of what we would call a digital content, digital solution specialist who work in four specific areas. It's in the area of content, which means we help companies create content, moderate content, or curate content. It's in the area of support. That would mean we might answer tickets or help companies fix their presence on a website. It's with technology, which could mean everything from software development to QA, and incubation, which would mean we would help a company start a practice or start a workflow that might be very nascent, get it to a stage of maturity, and then help them scale globally. So anyone who's listening who is part of let's say a streaming firm and wants to go global very quickly, that's where we could come in, and our people speak 80 different languages, not programming languages, actual languages. And we would be able to help the company understand, okay, if you have a product that works in San Francisco, there might be cultural nuances because of which it might not work well in Sweden. And then we can help our companies do that all across the world by going global, as well as staying local and relevant. And at the same time, making sure that content that is uploaded by the users is safe to consume by anyone who visits that company's website or uses their services. The two trends that I spoke about again, one is what companies were expecting to do in the year 2030, they're having to do now. COVID has really accelerated everything that companies plan for. It would be everything from their employees working from home, or the number of users that they have to accommodate on their products and services. So the need to scale very quickly and need to scale globally is a huge requirement. And so we would help our clients make sure that people still stay anonymous when they need to, but upload content that is trustworthy. We help companies monetize some of that content appropriately, whether it's through ads, whether it's through securely sharing data, across various platforms. But most importantly, we feel like we help make the internet a safer place for all our kids to navigate.
How does this all integrate with what we know of Vaco as a staffing agency? How does this all come together? When you're putting teams together to solve your clients' problems, how do those teams work? Are you hiring from the outside and bringing the team together brand new? Or do you have a stable of your own employees that you kind of send out to consult? How does this all work?
What pulls us over all together and makes Vaco so unique in the marketplace is our ability to provide these solutions and bring in a combination of our benched, tenured subject matter experts onto a project, depending on where it lies, and it could be local to that market, or depending on our client's appetite and budget, we could pull in those teams across the globe. Virtually now with our workforce, it's become a much easier conversation. But when the talent is needed locally and Vaco's needs to reach out to our local offices, the 45 across the globe, that's where we come in and we can provide that talent. So it's really a combination of all the above. So we can leverage the staffing teams and the 500 recruiters that we have on board to find the talent, or use, certainly pull in the project teams that we already have employed.
So what I'm hearing you say, Mary Lynn, is that there's an opportunity to scale the solution in any way that you may need. Meaning, maybe it's originally just a small issue or a small problem or small opportunity, but then there's a bigger, broader opportunity you notice down the line. You have the capability for both ends of that equation.
That's very accurate. I think Atul and Pete have done a great job of talking about our global capabilities. And Atul, thank you for mentioning our team in India. A lot of our clients that have the ability to offshore, we can leverage. We have 5,000 employees that work in India that support, when you're looking to really scale or get into some RPA type models, then we're able to leverage the teams.
You guys have talked about globalization and expanding globally and problems across the world, but let's talk about Richmond. Mary Lynn, what are you seeing here locally among Richmond companies in terms of their needs, and also in the marketplace here in the workforce and talent we have locally?
I feel like for those listening that we're back in the .com days. So there's a talent shortage and the appetite is just tripled coming into this market and economy right now, as people, they scaled back and stopped hiring, but now they need to not only hire, but increase their talent pool and associate base. So employers are gonna have to get creative. The trends of going back to, what benefits are gonna make my company stand out? What can I do to make this a better work-life balance, or they're having more control over where they work, for example. Those are going to be some of the trends. Mental health, diversity, really leaning forward in all those areas and attracting that talent.
Do you see the environment we're in as something that may be sustainable and on the rise for the foreseeable future? Or is there a bubble or some sort of trend that you see that may start to slow down as we move forward?
So me personally,
yeah,
sure. The bubble busting. Quite frankly, I've been doing this a little over 20 years, and the trend in IT, I feel like, has always been on that upswing. We've had some plateaus and maybe a slight dip. If you remember during the recession in '08, technology just slightly dipped, but then just went way back up. So we're industry that is ever growing, and I personally don't see it stopping. Those trends to consume more, information is only going to grow.
Yep.
And as we're seeing the trends in cloud and data science and just predictive analytics and using your data, even though it's always been there, wow, now companies are like, I can really increase revenue with utilizing that data and finding predictive outcomes with it and getting more market share, looking at consumer behaviors. I don't know, Pete and Atul, if you have, if you see anything differently.
I mean, I would say from a cybersecurity perspective, the pace of digital innovation, right, and the digital transformation drives the change, the changes for cybersecurity as well. So every time, there's advancement in technology that gets utilized in business operations, and with the cloud, everything that's enabling that to happen faster and faster, it just continues to present new challenges from a security perspective to keep up with that innovation. So as long as there's innovation, the digital technology innovation that's enabling businesses, the trends in cyber and cybersecurity trends, trying to keep up with that it is going to continue to be a challenge. And so I don't see it, Nick, to your question, I don't really see it leveling off or slowing down anytime soon.
You know, you make an interesting point, Pete. I was talking with somebody the other day about digital transformation, and somebody mentioned that isn't digital transformation over? Haven't we all moved from analog to digital already? And sure, yes, we have, but I think digital transformation is more timeless in the sense that there's always a legacy system somewhere and a more modern, new, innovative platform, service, system in place that people are going to have to move to. So if that pace of innovation continues, like you mentioned, well, then there's going to continue to be digital transformation as you digitally transform from the legacy system to the newer system.
That's right. I mean, I concur. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It was, it was Facebook 10 or 12 years ago. What, it's TikTok now. Sorry, I got kids, but I'm not that up on it, right? But it's just going to continue to transform, right? And innovation, whatever you refer to it as, is going to continue to happen. It's been, the way of the world for a long time now, and I just don't see it slowing down soon.
That we no longer are looking at hiring software engineers for our client's project in San Francisco or in LA or in New York. We're looking everywhere, and our teams continue to grow. And I think the second trend that we see in that is the talent too has a lot of options. And then that's where, the fact that Vaco has, outside of cybersecurity, healthcare technology, managed services, where we come in is that we have 600 of our team members focused on finding the right talent, both internally for ourselves as well as for our clients. And then they've got to cast the net wider and as, as much of the globe as possible is looking for companies to work with that are innovative. And unfortunately, most of them are still here in North America.
One final question, and we'll give you all a minute to think about this, but we're here at Capability Coffee learning about Vaco's capabilities. And I'd love to know, in your mind, what is Vaco's greatest capability? It could be high level, something that you think is your part of your mission statement and ultimately what you all are trying to do, but I'd also even love to hear from one of you, maybe at a more granular level, about what your biggest or your greatest capability is. So I'll toss it to you all. Vaco, what is your greatest capability?
Vaco's greatest capability is to bring San Francisco and the music city Nashville to the rest of the world.
Vaco's greatest capability is its people.
Vaco's greatest capability is the fact that we are so entrepreneurial that we can almost provide a solution to all of your needs. We tell our clients, just ask, and we can pull in the talent globally or support you locally.
Well, thanks, Mary Lynn. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Atul. Thanks, Vaco. And we'll see you next time on Capability Coffee.